Sonic Movie and Equesria Girls Chapter 6, Adjusting with New Friends. After the awkward introductions, Tails had introduced the girls to their house as Tails opened the door to reveal their living room with 3 rooms which contained each of the trio's items and scenery.
I know this isn't much, but just try to make yourself at home.
Some of the others looked amazed at what they were seeing, especially Twilight Sparkle as she soon made her way inside Tails' room. Inside she saw a small plane which had the name Tornado on the side. She also saw computers set up, each having specific information and codes printed on it. It was like all around her there were things she didn't expect a little fox to have as she curiously looked over to see a small orange robot as he tapped on his forehead to be sure. Just then the robot then turned on as Twilight could only be taken back as the robot scared her.
Female detected. Unauthorized protocols is advised.
It's alright, there's no need. She's just a friend.
The robot then soon walked away as it began moving away some boxes that were in the way as Twilight looked astonished as she looked over to the little fox.
An artificial robot, a small plane, and supercomputers.
Please, that's child's play. I've got many more than those.
Tails then felt himself being pulled him in the air as Twilight excitedly grabbed onto him while taking him around his workshop as she wanted to explore everything they Fox has invented.
You've got to show me around. What else did you make?
Wait, slow down.
From the other room, Pinkie Pie and Applejack entered Knuckles' room as they saw room looked something like a gym as Pinkie Pie's eyes brightened when she saw a bull rider machine.
You guys have a bull rider match in.
The fox made it for me since he knew I enjoyed challenges.
Applejack looked around to see weights laying on the floor as she couldn't believe that the lowest was 200 metric tons.
How could someone lift something that heavy?
Us Echidna warriors have trained ourselves every day to improve our strength and skills. My father had always encouraged me to get stronger because you may know what foe you may be facing.
It didn't take long before they heard something fly across the room as Pinkie Pie was sent back against the wall besides them as she was pushed back after failing to hold on to the bull. Luckily she dismissed what had just happened as she stood up and walked over next to Applejack.
You have an awful lot of stories. Could you tell us some?
I don't know which one to tell, but I do know one. During my adventure to seek out and find the blue hedgehog. During my quest.
As Knuckles continued his story, Sonic could only watch Fluttershy laying down on the couch along with Rarity, who couldn't help but look at some of the gold rings which laid on the table.
Looks like they're already making themselves at home.
It didn't take long before Sonic noticed 2 individuals were missing, that being Rainbow Dash and Sunset Shimmer, as Sonic turned around to see Sunset Shimmer leaving as the blue hedgehog tried to reach out for her only to be stopped by the voice behind him.
You should give her some space. With everything that's happened, I think she deserves time to process things.
Sonic could only turn around to see Rainbow Dash kneeling against the wall with her hands crossed as she looked at Sonic skeptically. The blue hedgehog could look nervously, noticing there was tension between the two.
Hey Rainbow Dash, look, I know right now it doesn't seem like the best move to trust us, but trust me when I say this. I didn't know Eggman was still alive and was following us to you and the others.
You say that, yet you and your friends almost got my friends killed, along with the fact you spied on Sunset Shimmer and the others for who knows how long.
Okay, I'll give you that, but still, I didn't mean to drag you girls in this mess.
Well, the damage is already done. So if you'll excuse me, I'll be needing to clear my head as well, since I'm now stuck here knowing that a mad scientist is trying to kill me.
Rainbow Dash then walked the other way as Sonic could only sigh, knowing that the tension between the 2 speedsters was only going to get worse as he looked down sadly. He never meant for any of this to happen, but yet it still did, whether he liked it or not. Later, with Sunset Shimmer, not too far away from the house stood a peaceful and relaxing lake as Sunset Shimmer had chosen that spoke to clear her head about a few things. It wasn't much help that her first friend that she made months ago turned out to be an alien blue hedgehog from another world. That she could only sigh while sitting down on the grass as he could only look out at the peaceful lake with the moonlight reflecting upon the lake.
What am I gonna do? I can talk to Princess Twilight back at Equestria since I left my magical journal back at my house.
Sunset.
Sunset Shimmer looked back to see Twilight Sparkle as she sat down next to Sunset Shimmer as both stared off into the lake ahead of them. The sun then began to rise as the darkness around them was now being covered with light as Sunset asked,
What are you doing here? I thought you wanted the fox to show you around and stuff.
I decided to give the little guy a break. Plus Fluttershy is kinda already cuddling him to death, so I decided to try and find you.
That poor fox.
So, how are you handling all of this?
To tell you the truth, I don't really know how I feel about all of this. With everything that's happened, it's just kinda overwhelming for me, you know.
I'm with you on that boat. But look on the bright side, you finally got to see Sonic and his friends face to face, even though they aren't what you expected. But even so, they're really nice critters, and they don't seem like bad people at all.
Sunset Shimmer looked the opposite direction while showing a gloomy look as Twilight Sparkle could only ask her with a sympathetic look.
What's wrong? Did I say something wrong?
No, it's not that, it's about Sonic.
What about him? Are you still weirded out that he's an alien blue hedgehog from another world?
We wouldn't feel weirded out, but that's not the point. I guess deep down I'm just kinda upset with him, that's all.
But why though?
Back when Princess Twilight came to our world, her main objective was to get the crown which I stole from Equestria. But because of me, she was forced to face challenges and harsh treatment which I gave. Even so, she still managed to make friends and defeat me during fall formal and opened my eyes about the type of person I was becoming.
How does this relate to Sonic?
After the fall formal, no one would really talk to me, and I started to feel alone with everyone hating me. It wasn't until I met Sonic on my rooftop when I was crying one night. He didn't show his face to me, but the way he sounded made it seem like he had no ill intentions. That night he helped me through the pain and gave me advice to never give up and to not let the past define me. Ever since then, some nights we would meet up with him still hiding his face.
Then why are you still upset with him? You've seen what he looks like now.
Because I felt like if it wasn't for what happened a few hours ago, he wasn't going to show himself to me at all. I know it sounds stupid and selfish, but I just can't help but wonder. Since he came from another world, he would want to go back somehow. It just makes me wonder if he was ever going to tell me about who he really was. A part of me believes that he was just gonna leave me behind and go back to his world like nothing ever happened. It's like he just felt pity for me that night.
Twilight noticed the tears coming down Sunset Shimmer cheeks as she was quick to reassure her that was the case.
Hold on there, I'm sure Sonic had a good explanation into why he didn't want to tell you. I know his actions are a bit questionable, but I know deep down he cares for you. I can't say much since I didn't know the little guy personally, but I do know that Critter deals with a lunatic scientist who plans on conquering the world, so that might be a reason why he didn't want to know personally. I think Sonic just didn't want you to get involved in things like that. Not to mention the fact that not many people would act friendly towards him since he is a blue hedgehog alien.
I know it's just some part me can't help but just wish he told me, you know. Sure, it would have taken a while and things would be awkward at first, but at least it would have gotten things out the way. For so long I wanted to meet the first person to ever help me in person, only for him to push me away to eventually leave like nothing ever happened.
I guess that's something you will have to ask him privately when you have the chance. I don't know what to say, but if you were to ask me, it's best to know both sides of the story before jumping into a conclusion. Besides Tails and Knuckles, you are the only one out of us girls that know him personally. It's best to talk to him about it and tell him how you feel.
Sunset Shimmer could only wipe her tears away as she knew Twilight was right. She and Sonic really did need to talk things out to understand each other.
Thanks, Twilight. Say you're kinda sounding almost like Princess Twilight back at Equestria.
Really? Well, in that case I command you make up with Sonic.
The girls could only laugh after hearing Twilight say such a thing, as both enjoyed each other's company. Somewhere else entirely, Dr. Robotnik was currently sitting down in his chair as he talked to Agent Stone from his supercomputer which connected the two worlds' communication.
Agent Stone, is the trajectory cannon ready to fire?
Yes, sir. Only a few hours before we could use the storm's energy to transport the space colony Ark to your location.
Very good, Agent Stone. Someone I hate you less than I already do. Only when the cannon is ready. Once this weapon is here, I'll make my grand entrance to this world's governments.
Right away, Robotic Sir.
The communication was soon cut off as the Mad Doctor could only spin around his chair in excitement, knowing what was to come was going to be one of his greatest moments.
Who needs the Master Emerald when you got a gift from your grandfather, am I right?
Dr. Robotnik looked over to see Shadow leaning against the wall with his hands crossed as he said nothing in response, which made the mood seem awkward.
Not much of a chatterbox, are you, huh?
Shadow then turned away as he walked away slowly.
Call me when you need me to deal with that blue hedgehog and his friends.
You're no fun. At least with Knuckles he seemed so naive and oblivious.
Shadow walked away from the Mad Doctor as he walked along the empty hallway of their base. As he walked along the hallway, a certain memory played back on his mind as he remembered why he joined Eggman in his conquest.
Shadow, please do it for me. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow could only stop in his tracks before punching the wall, causing debris to fly everywhere. The Black Hedgehog could only remember his purpose in joining the Mad Doctor in his conquest. At night, Sunset Shimmer could be seen exiting out of one of the rooms from Sonic and his friend's house. She looked around to see no one in sight as she could only wonder where everyone was. She looked outside the window to see a small campfire as the others besides Rainbow Dash could be seen outside as Sonic was retelling the story from what happened during his second confrontation with Eggman.
With the Eggman's enormous robot chasing after me, Tails and Knuckles were able to sneak behind him without him knowing and infiltrate from the back.
Thanks to the fox, I was able to use my strength to punch the emerald away from Eggman after he broke our alliance.
What happened next?
Unfortunately for us, since the emerald powered his robot, me and Knuckles fell along with his robot. Eggman used the remaining power to try to destroy Sonic, only for Tom and Maddie to come in and save him in the nick of time.
However, it seemed that even without the emerald on his grasp, Eggman still was able to catch them. It had seemed all hope was lost, and the hope that Sonic had with the emerald shattered when the emerald broke into small pieces. Eggman used his robot to crush Sonic into the dirt, and it had seemed like the end for the Blue Hedgehog.
My goodness, I could never imagine being stepped on by something so massive.
Wait, what happened after that?
Yeah, you can't leave us hanging like that.
Turns out the Master Emerald had broken into the Seven Chaz Emerald, which forged the powerful gem. In my time of need, the emeralds came to me as I turned it into something I never thought was possible.
What do you mean? What happened when you absorbed the emeralds?
My appearance had changed from regular blue to an awesome yellow color, and my eyes had changed from green to red. I had become the most powerful being in the universe. I had become supersonic.
The girls could only awe at the thought of seeing this supposed form of Sonic after he absorbed these so-called mystical gems from within the Master Emerald.
Sonic used his power to finally defeat Eggman, push him over the edge which we thought had killed him. Ever since then, we protected the emerald from those who would want to boost its power.
That was quite a story. Here I thought seeing a princess from another world was the most craziest thing I've seen in my life.
I didn't know Sonic was so fast that he could literally move when time has stopped. That's like a gazillion times faster than Rainbow Dash.
I still can't believe that's how y'all even met. Even meeting the students from Crystal Prep wasn't as intense as Knuckles meeting Sonic for the first time.
What I don't get is how Tails can fly using his two tails. How is that scientifically possible?
Me and Tails usually call it a butt copper.
Only Sonic the Hedgehog could come up something that funny.
You got that right, buddy.
That just leaves one question. Since that Mad Doctor is back, how are you going to stop him with that Black Hedgehog on his side?
Sonic and the others looked amongst themselves before Sonic could only smile and casually look at her.
To be honest, I don't even know myself, but it won't stop me from trying. Plus, with you guys on my side, there's nothing we can't do.
The hedgehog is right. Let us not worry for the future just yet and focus on celebrating by eating s'mores and telling more stories about ourselves. It would make a great opportunity to get to know one another better.
You said a big guy.
The others could only with one another as it seemed that the distrust from earlier had faded away. From the house, Sunset could only smile as she saw Sonic smiling while talking with the others about something she couldn't quite hear. It didn't matter though. She was just happy her friends were seeing what she saw in him.
Looks like things are turning out just fine.
Unfortunately for the others, they failed to recognize a certain speedster not too far away leaning against the tress around the area. Rainbow Dash had listened into the whole story as she could growl in annoyance after seeing her friends praise Sonic.
He doesn't seem that interesting to me. So what? He could move when time is stopped and turn into a golden god. Big deal. It's not like it's that cool or anything in my book.
As much as she tried to deny it in her expression, anyone could see that through that smug face was someone that was barely holding it together. She could only hope this won't bother her too much.